What's going on, everyone? It's Live with Kenny, episode 37. Merry Christmas to all of you guys. I hope you guys are having a great week. I'm starting a little early because I kind of want to get through the stories. As you know, today stream is going to be about the storylines of politics in 2024. As the last stream of the year, next week, I'm taking next week off, so there will be no live show next week on Friday. I hope you guys have a great Merry Christmas. I hope you guys spend time with your loved ones and your family members. And I just kind of want to get into my thesis of 2024. Many issues are going to decide how 2024 is going to go. Border security, the state of the economy, our culture, a lot of stuff is going to go into it, right? And I want to react to some of the videos today and some articles as usual. So I'm going to dive right into the articles. So Supreme Court deals blow to Jack Smith refusing to quickly take up Trump's immunity case. As you know, Jack Smith, a private citizen that has not been elected or anointed by anyone in office, has taken a hit on his claims to, I guess, prosecute Trump. The Supreme Court rejected on Friday special counsel Jack Smith request for his fast-track consideration of the debate over whether former President Donald Trump has immunity from prosecution. The petition for the right of I don't know how, guys, me and these words. Before judgment is denied, the High Court said it is in order, dealing a blow to Smith's effort to maintain a schedule that would have his 2020 election case against Trump in Washington going trial in March. This man wanted this man prosecuted in March. How is this not election interference? I do not know. Thank you, Kenny. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you, Jonathan Smith. So, with this decision, the case remains with the U.S. Court of Appeals, and Trump is spared until January 9th, I believe. So, Jack Smith took an L today, but I want to get into the polls. Latest presidential polls post has Trump's largest lead in GOP, consistently tops Biden in the general election. Why is that? They just compared this man to Orange Hitler. He quoted Mein Kampf, according to the liberal media. So how is he still ahead of Biden? Right? Former President Donald Trump has hit the largest GOP primary polling lead in Real Clear Politics average of national polls, as he also enjoys a consistent lead over President Joe Biden in a hypothetical 2024 general election matchup. I think this is one of the reasons why they're prosecuting this man, right? And I kind of want to highlight other things that's been going on, right? Border is I believe, a big component of why Trump is such in a big lead, right? I don't know if you guys seen this. You probably have. Stephen A. Smith decided that he wanted to weigh in on some of the politicating that's going on. I'm only going to give his video like a minute in before I react to it. But a lot of liberals call the immigration issue and how Trump handled it as disgraceful, inhumane. And last time I checked, I don't understand when outsiders became entitled to a sovereign country. I never understood people's logic when it comes to this stuff. And I think one of the reasons why Trump is leading in the polls is that a lot of people are starting to realize the negative effects of unrestricted immigration. Chicago's complaining about it. You just heard the mayor of Chicago, if you look at the news, he prevented his own constituents from voting on whether Chicago should remain a sanctuary city. Protect democracy by banning democracy. Oh, we can talk about it, but we won't allow you to put teeth behind your words. And this is a big problem that a lot of Democrats are facing today. And I think this shows the hypocrisy is that he didn't care about immigration until it started affecting them, right? So let's get into the video. I'm only going to do a minute of this video because I want to keep this segment, the news segment, under 30 minutes so we can get into the main event, which is what you guys came here for, capitalism versus communism. So let's dive into Stephen A's reaction to Texas's immigration bill.
He's the governor for the state of Texas. On Monday, that governor, Governor Abbott, signed a bill into law that will allow the police to arrest migrants who enter the U.S. illegally. This law, which takes effect in March, allows any Texas law enforcement officer to arrest people who are suspected of entering the country.
And I think that's the right of Texas to do that, because end of the day, this talks to a bigger problem that with Republicans that had with the Biden administration is the fact that they do not want to enforce the sovereign borders of the United States. Right? So when these people try to come with this humanitarian argument that, oh, we should just accept them in, no one's entitled to a country the same way like I'm not entitled to come into your house. End of the day, the first thing you do when you come into a country isn't to break its laws. That's not a good way to go into someone's house. You come in through the front door, not the back door. If you come through the back door, people's going to assume, and they rightfully should assume, that you're there for malicious intent. And I think this is the problem that a lot of liberals can't get past, is that migrants aren't owed asylum. Only a globalist and a communist would think that way. Everything in common. No, we're not in common. The only people who have a claim to any resources, any rights in our country is American citizens and legal migrants here. That's it, because they went through the proper process. We can't just come and show up, oh, I know I broke into the back door, but I'm poor, hungry, and starving. You should take me in. You wouldn't, Stephen A. Smith wouldn't accept somebody going into his house the same way. So why should we tolerate it for our country? Riddle me that. This is the altruism point that I always speak against, is that they want you to be sacrificing your resources, yourself, for the benefit of other people who don't even pay into the system. I digress. Let's continue.
Illegally. This is bad, ladies and gentlemen. And before I go a step further, there's an individual by the name of Krish, Krish, Omara Vignarajah, Vignarajah. That person is the CEO of Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service. Says, quote, by criminalizing the very act of seeking refuge, Texas is turning its back on the values of compassion and due process that make our nation the world's beacon of humanitarian leadership. That is one way to put it. There are various other ways.
See, and this is my argument, right? It's a globalist ideal to think that, oh, humanitarian reasons, we should put our interest, what's good for our nation, our country, our citizens, for the benefit of the world. But I've shown videos about how mass immigration doesn't even solve world poverty. It actually spreads world poverty, because these people who have no skills to make it in our country, they come in mass numbers, millions by the millions, when there's a bunch of poor people in the billions. So we're not even making a dent into world poverty. All we're doing is overburdening our welfare systems, our entitlement programs, our safety nets, because a lot of these people can't make it in our country. Sorry, not sorry. That's the reality. That's not compassionate, in my view. Compassion is, hey, go make it work in your country. Make your country a better place, because that's the only way you're going to solve world poverty, is by having the greatest minds of these people that migrate here legally stay in their country and try to make their situation over there better. Try to make their country a beacon for refuge, not come in here to the United States. How's that? Like, I like how one-sided this critique is. There's no accountability on the migrants' end. They're coming here illegally. They're seeking asylum, sure, but we have a right of refusal. And the fact that Biden gets in the way of Texas enforcing its own borders, Texas has to take this measure. Right? Abiding by the sanctuary cities. Hey, Texas has been complaining about the border for I don't know how long, as long as I've been curious in politics. Since 2016, since 2015. Longer, in the 1990s, when Democrats used to be anti-immigration. Now they're for immigration, and now they want to flip their tune. They used to understand mass immigration hurts the lowest people in our society. Democrats used to understand this. Now they don't anymore, because they have another agenda for why they want migrants in the country. And they want to act like they're having this fake compassion. No. People in Chicago are mad as hell that they're getting all these migrants that's being a burden on their system, that they're getting better treatment than they're getting. and it's their tax dollars that's paying for the migrants to come here, be sheltered here. Hell, there's stories coming out that Biden's using tax dollars to have these migrants fly all around the country, first class, on your tax dollars. Are we going to reap anything back from that? No. The only one who benefits from that is the Democratic Party, because they know, hey, children of migrants lean heavily Democrat. You think if most migrants, when they have children here, if their kids lean Republican, you think Democrats will be busting their butt doing all this sanctuary cities, using tax funds to fly them into the country, all around the country? No, they wouldn't be doing this. If a lot of the migrants act like Cubans when they get here, they wouldn't be doing this. This is all a political game, and then you're using compassion to kind of shelter and hide the fact. I digress. Let's continue with the video.
To put it.
Sup, Brian?
This is
Byron. Sorry.
It's inhumane. And it opens the floodgate to further divide our nation, because when you have law enforcement that literally can arrest people over a suspicion, think about that for a second. People can be arrested who are suspected of entering the country illegally. Do you realize that that means a law enforcement official can walk up to somebody, all right, they look Hispanic. Okay, their English is broken. They don't speak fluid English. So that could be a cause for me to arrest them?
This might be a hot take, but I honestly think that if you're someone who don't want to assimilate to American culture, as in speak standard English, hey, there's right to have some suspicion on you, because you're not adapting to American culture. And I think that's something we need to bring back. We need to bring back shame. We need to bring back accountability again. We need to stop bending over backwards for all these people that at the end of the day are just using the system. They're just using it as an opportunity for a better life. And I don't fault them for that. I don't fault them that they want a better economic outcome, but it can't be at our expense. It can't be at the taxpayers' expense. Imagine us, we're paying all these taxes, and we're the last in line to benefit from these tax programs, from taxpayer money. If taxpayer money is going to be used, at least make it be used for something that American citizens can take advantage of. Not this altruistic, hey, American citizens, sacrifice yourself, cannibalize yourself for the benefit of the world. When the very solution that's supposed to solve world hunger, mass migration, is only going to make the problem worse. What's the point of destroying America with mass migration? You're just going to create more poverty. I don't know how many examples these liberals need to see before they concede that mass immigration ain't the point, ain't the way. Speaker Johnson presses Biden to use executive order for border crisis, because end of the day, only the president can enforce the boundaries and the borders of a country. Texas can't deport people, unfortunately, because if Texas could deport people, if Arizona could deport people, they would, but they can't, because that conflicts the chain of command in our country. Oh, yeah. Probably because the law doesn't just say suspicion. It probably doesn't, but how I see it is Texas hands are tied here. And that's what Stephen A is not understanding. That there was a lot of, like, he's missing a whole lot of context before he got to that point. It's like Texas had enough. Texas like, yo, we got to do something about this. We sending them by bus. Chicago don't want them by bus. So now Texas is sending them by plane. It shows the hypocrisy of the liberals. The liberals, it's easy to be a liberal from afar. It's easy to say you're a sanctuary city when you barely get any migrants. And Texas is like, all right, we'll call your bluff. Arizona said, sure, we'll call your bluff. Here you go. Help us out. Boston, your sanctuary city, take some of these guys off our hands, because we don't have the infrastructure. We're overburdened. We're overrun. We can't handle them all. Here you go. Oh my God, these Republican governors are destroying America. But it's like a lot of these politicians, they can't think past their own like situation, their own system. If it's hurting you, you're only getting a small percentage of what Texas and Arizona gets, the border towns get. Right? And Byron, if Texas decides to deport them, Biden can come after the state legally, because that's outside their jurisdiction. They're going to court over this. Texas is going to court over this. And it's all on Biden. This is why Biden's approval ratings are going down. Texas finally spread the pain. Oh, okay, you don't understand me? Here, walk a mile in our shoes, Chicago. Walk a mile in our shoes, Boston. Walk a mile in our shoes, New York. You want to pretend that you're doing something virtuous? Oh, we're a sanctuary city. Look at us. We're not bigots like Texas who want to deport immigrants. Okay, here you go. Now they complain about the problem. Now they're talking the same way Texas has been talking for years, for decades. Now, instead of calling people bigots for saying they're a burden on our system, we don't have the resources to help them, we need to send them back. Now Democrats want understanding now, because now it's affecting them. I digress. Let's continue with the story. House Speaker Mike Johnson urged President Biden on Thursday to take executive order to get a grip on the southern border crisis. A letter from Johnson to Biden warned about the record tide of illegal immigration, which he blames on the current administration policies, and it is, and encouraged the commander-in-chief to consider a number of options under existing law in lieu of an immediate legislative solution. The list includes ending catch and release, which is a big proponent. There's stories out there how ICE facilities are underutilized because they don't contain any of the illegal immigrants that come through here. They just give them a court date. Here you go, and send them inside our country. Does that sound like sound policy to you? It's baffling to me. But this is one of the storylines of politics. This border situation, this by itself can probably give Trump the election if they play this right. Stopping the exploitation of parole authorities, reviving asylum cooperation agreement with Mexico, which was Trump's thing. But first day in office, Biden is like, first 100 days in office, let me remove everything Trump did because Trump did it. Does this sound like sound policy? Does that sound like a solution-driven political strategy? No, it's not. It's all about me. Look what I did. Look how virtuous I am. I care about the migrants. I stopped the asylum cooperation agreement with Mexico. They can come directly here instead of being ignored in Mexico. Ramping up the expedited removal of migrants who fail to qualify for asylum and renewing construction of the border wall. Right, and this is his little letter that he sent to Biden. Johnson also pressed Biden to use Section 212 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, which is what I was talking about, that Biden has authority, which gives the president the authority to block entry to foreigners deemed to be detrimental to the U.S. interest. Is the current migration crisis, I think it's the average is like 12,000 migrants a day. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe someone can give me the actual numbers. But isn't that detrimental to the interest of the United States? Like, imagine that. If I'm doing something that's detrimental to my family will ask me, hey, Kenny, you need to stop this. Okay, I will, because I care about my family. Our politicians, your allegiance is to your citizens, not to some global world. You're not the world police. You're not the world's politician. You're an American politician. So you have to worry about American interest. And this is hurting American interest. That's the truth. Oh, shout out to Byron. Super chat. I enjoy your content. I need to leave, but I'll watch your reaction to that Jubilee video. Of course, you know me. The main event's always towards the last hour of the stream. So I appreciate you. I appreciate the super chat, and I hope you're doing okay. So let's get back into the video. To regain operational control of the border, which they have none currently, the letter was issued as Senate talks in which negotiators are trying to hash out agreements tying border security reform to aid for U.S. allies such as Ukraine and are poised to stretch into the New Year's. So they're using this as a political football, right? And to me, as a citizen, I want politics to be centered around solutions, right? At least on the march to solve something. Not to be used as a carrot on a stick and say, oh, we're going to fix it. Oh, I would trade you if you trade me. This is why a part of me feel like in American politics, as a citizenry, we should give the Republican Party a supermajority so they don't have to play this nonsense game of compromise. Because we do one step forward and then we take two steps back. We got a 33 trillion plus national debt. That's not a good thing. Johnson has noted that the House passed aborted legislation H.R. 2 earlier this year. However, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer refused to have the Senate take up the bill, dismissing what he described as a partisan right-wing demand. This is why I'm in a big, like, as American citizens, the storyline should be, hey, what is in the best interest of the country? What is the priority right now? And which party has the solutions for the priority right now? The top 3 issues that everyone cares about: the economy, crime, inflation, and then you got border security somewhere in the top 10. All that, Republicans got the solution for it. And you letting a Democrat stop you because it's partisan. Bruh, the Republicans have the solution. Of course it's partisan. You don't have the solution. If we lived in a country where we all saw each other as one people, one nation under God, in reality, we actually saw, if our politics was actually centered around that sentence, one nation under God, this senator will be like, hey, we ain't got the answers this time. We don't got a counter. We don't have a counter that will actually address the solutions that the American people are worried about right now. Democrats will be calling Chuck Schumer and say, hey, how dare you hold up this bill? We need this. You're not acting in the best interest of the country. You're acting at the best interest of your party. You're putting party before country. I think as Americans, this is a political culture that I think I want more Americans to adopt. That your party comes second to what's best for the country. If your side don't have the answers, they don't have the answers, Sway. We don't care if it's right wing. We don't care if you think it's right wing demands. Come with a better argument. Come with a better bill. We agree with the Republican solution. If you don't agree with the Republican solution, you're getting out next year. But for too long, we let the media, we let all these people divide us by our race, our gender, our political ideology, when in reality, we're one people under God, bruh. One people. Because at the end of the day, regardless if you're a Democrat or Republican, if America falls, if America becomes bankrupt, if America loses its status as the world reserve currency, we all lose. We all take an L. When our system's overburdened with migrants coming in,
to America?
Right? Stephen A. is like, oh, Hispanic people. Look.
Jersey? Minnesota.
All kinds of people. Right?
Now.
How, like, you think they can make it in this economy? With this inflation? You think these people will be able to get a living wage? $50K a year wage? The most they can do is construction workers. They're literally cheap labor. Democrats literally see migrants as a servant class. Oh, you hear? Oh, my next barber's in there. My next gardener's in there. My next janitor's in there. My next housemaid's in there. They literally look at these migrants as, yo, you're gonna be cheap labor. Corporations, oh, this is gonna be used as cheap labor to undercut the American labor force. Immigration hurts the minorities the worst. The lower skilled workers in America, those are what immigration hurt. Immigration hurts the common American. How is this not a threat to Americans' interest? I know stopping migration is a threat to Democrats' interest because Democrats, if here's the reality. If we give the right to vote to migrants, overwhelmingly all of them will vote Democrat. And Democrats will win elections by a landslide because you only need about 2 million votes to win by a landslide. And it's estimated about what? I forget the number. Don't quote me if I'm wrong here. About 10 million migrants, illegal immigrants in this country. It's undocumented. We don't know how many people are actually in this country. But they overwhelmingly support Democrats because Democratic policies, Democrats' stances on things make it easier for them to migrate here. Undocumented. And that's the interest that Democrats have in pushing migration. But, you know, I digress. I'm done chatting about the immigration. So I got another interesting video. You know, recently in the news, in the cultural news space, we have feminists out here saying the feminism just left my body because they found an aspect of traditional gender norms that they like. And many people criticize this feminist, but I want to talk about a clip that I remember seeing from Jordan Peterson when he was talking to a progressive student, and they're talking about sex and how sex isn't free, is how Jordan Peterson put it. So let's give some thoughts in the video. I know you guys probably getting tired of just hearing my voice, so let's dive into the video and I'll give my voice a break. Let's take a look.
What is the key to empowering men in the Me Too age while maintaining healthy boundaries and strong behavioral expectations?
We've had relatively reliable birth control since 1960. Okay, that's not very long.
I hate when it blacks out like that. Like what happened?
And we underestimate the unbelievable technological triumph of birth control. It's the hydrogen bomb. It's the transistor. Like, it's a major league transformation in human interaction.
Do you agree with that? I believe so, because it essentially removes the consequence of having promiscuous sex, indiscriminate sex from women, right? Because the punishment used to be if you had indiscriminate sex with a bunch of dudes and you get pregnant, you don't know who the father is, and all the dudes can deny who the father, that they're not the father. So it was like it was a consequence. And one thing I noticed with the birth control revealed to me, and I made a video today, that how feminism has ruined modern women, is that modern women they have this idea that they can have their cake and eat it too, right? Megyn Kelly was on Twitter arguing with Matt Walsh, that Matt Walsh dare ask that, hey, you can't just like one aspect of traditional gender roles. You have to also take the good. You have to also take a trade-off, the cost. Hey, there's certain things that a traditional guy would like from a woman. And if you're not a traditional woman, then don't sit here and expect traditional treatment. Fair point. Megyn Kelly out here saying, oh no, men like an assertive woman that don't know how to cook, but it's all in her career. No. And I'm noticing a lot of conservative women also falling for this like feminist culture of, I gotta be a career woman. Look, I'm fine with career women. All right, if my wife want to go back to her career, it's fine. I don't care. But my thing is, hey, the family come first. I know my job is a means to an end, but a lot of women look at their job as one of their signs of purpose. I don't look at my job that way. My job is a means to an end. Hey, I work to live. But it seems like a lot of these career women, they live to work. And anything that gets in the way of them living for their work, they see it as a setback. Slavery, right? And it's crazy the culture, that the feminist culture that has seeped into the psyche of modern women. But, I digress. Let's continue with how, sex isn't just meaningless. And this is a problem with our culture too. And I think this is a part of why I want morality back, why we need to teach virtue again, why we need to allow religious, philosophical education in high school, is because we have no sense of meaning as a culture anymore. To the point where everything's just meaningless. Oh, yellow, whatever. It doesn't matter. Oh, things don't matter anymore. It doesn't matter if you're this. It doesn't matter if you're that. And yeah, exactly. Feminism has ruined many women's lives. I did a video. I'm sorry I keep referencing the video, but there's studies that show that liberal women are some of the most unhappiest women in the world. And who's more likely to be a feminist, a conservative or a liberal? A liberal woman, a progressive woman. When they have indiscriminate sex and then they feel like they regret hookup culture, who's more likely to participate in hookup culture? A liberal or conservative? Liberal. So you want to follow the patterns of one of the most unhappiest people in America. This is crazy. But hey, I digress. Let's continue. I've been rambling. No, let Jordan Peterson speak his piece.
Women are now free from involuntary reproduction. That's never been the case in the entire history of the planet. Okay, we don't know exactly what to do about that. Okay, so the first idea in the 60s was, hell, let's party. And you can see why. It's like what the rules for not engaging in promiscuous sexual intercourse seemed to have vanished. So we had a couple of decades of experimentation. It's like, well, how'd that go? Little hard on the family, I would say.
Agree.
Not so good for kids.
Yep.
AIDS, that wasn't a plus.
Sexual transmitted disease. See, and then this is not a critique, but this is why I also don't really agree with the red pill stuff. I understand, like, look, a lot of the problems that red pill point out, completely agree. I did videos on it that I think older conservative men, when they give the advice, men, go have some kids, go start a family, they should say, but it can't be with any woman. Like that needs to follow right after, right? They need to be able to articulate what discernment is, what qualifies a good woman to marry. Because I never seen a conservative man tackle this. They always criticizing the men. Hey, men, y'all need to step up. Y'all need to do this. Hey, look, I'm 27 years old. I'm a millennial. End of the day, I'm my generation, bro. Some people say, you don't act like a typical millennial, Kenny, but I'm a millennial. Yo, you can't pick and choose what you want. Either you all the way this or you all the way that. You modern or you're traditional. If you're traditional, okay, I want some traditional stuff in return. Compromise exists. Yes, negotiation is important in a relationship. I understand. But you need to, as conservatives, we need a filter. All right. And my unsolicited advice is you ain't going to find a good wife on dating apps. My hot take. Okay. You're not going to find a good partner from dating apps. It's possible, but the probability is against you. That's my argument. Okay. And a part of that is, I think as conservatives, we jump the gun. We telling men, oh, go get married, go have kids, go do this, without fixing the culture first. Because I think as long as we have this culture where women balk at traditional femininity, right? All you have to do is look at Matt Walsh's tweets. I should have gotten it ready to make it as an example for this, but I do this unscripted. If you go on Matt Walsh's X post tweets and you look at like some of the women that were counteracting what he's saying, oh, it sounds so transactional, Matt Walsh. What? You naming someone who don't have expectations from their spouse. Naming one thing. But because Matt Walsh has the expectations from his wife, they're going to say, duty and love is not the same, Matt Walsh. Huh? Can you have love without duty? If your wife didn't meet your expectations, would she have been your wife in the first place? Last time I checked, everyone has standards. Is this standards some type of transaction? Hey, if you're not like this, I can't marry you. Simple. It's so unrealistic in today's age that we let many people live in fantasy, in imagination. Remember, guys, the model for this channel, I do not suffer from imagination. I suffer from reality. And the reality is unconditional love only exists from your parents. If you become a murderer and you killed somebody, your parents not going to like what you did, but they still love you. All right? You can't say the same about your wife. Now, maybe your wife can love you if you murdered somebody, but there's limits to that. If you murdered her mom, will she love you? Huh? Questionable. You murdered her family. Would that wife still love you? Questionable. Right? But I digress. All I said that just to say is that we're struggling with two paradigms in our society today. Should we be a society that pushes our people, pushes the youth to strive for virtue, or we're a society that strives and pushes our youth to go towards vice and hedonism? Because that's what I see the red pill. The red pill is telling men to pick the vice. Okay, you can't change these women, but enjoy these women and perpetuate this culture into the next generation. Instead of punishing these people, I say, hey, look, you're in the sex only category, but you're still giving what the women want. Because at the end of the day, what's women's greatest sin? It's vanity. Men's hardest sin to get over is lust. Women's hardest sin to get over is vanity. You're still giving the women attention. You're still giving the women validation, either through sexual, economic. You see the OnlyFans stuff. Now, the money's going down because right now we're in hard times and OnlyFans is a luxury. But still, they're making millions of dollars just showing up. Just showing some flesh. And I think a culture, the way we're trending right now, is going to be a dating mismatch made in hell, because Gen Z men, overwhelmingly conservative. Gen Z women, still overwhelmingly liberal. So in the future, this fight is going to be even more extravagant as I get older. I digress. Let's continue with the story, because I'm rambling. I'm a rambler.
Could have killed us all. And it mutated, particularly to take advantage of promiscuous sex, because viruses are very tricky things. So it turns out that sex is a little bit more complicated than we thought. Well, it actually turns out that it's a lot more complicated than we think. Okay, and now it's 50, 60 years later, and we're trying to sort this out. It's like, well, when is it okay to have sex? Exactly. And when is it not okay to have sex? And what does it mean that it's okay? And what does consent mean? And the answer to that is, well, we never used to have to think these things through, because the rule was don't have sex until you get married. That was the rule. Now that isn't the rule. Okay, so what's the rule? Well, we're not having a conversation about the rule. We're waiting till someone does something that seems like it might be untoward and then mobbing them.
And that's not a good rule to have, right? And this is one of my biggest issues with progressives, liberals, is that a lot of they're good at criticizing something. Oh, women don't need to wait until they have marriage to have sex. That's so restrictive. That's so controlling of you. A woman still has value. A woman can still be a good wife, even if she had sex with 100 people. The liberal men and progressive men will say, and then we'll go, okay, what your rule for it? It doesn't matter. It should just be up to the woman. Anyone's good for a marriage. That's not true. Certain characters, certain traits are not good for a marriage. This is why you have to practice discernment, right? This is why you vet people. This is why you try to marry someone who aligns with your values. If you want a long-term relationship, you and the person has to be damn near one-to-one. You have to see everything almost the same way, maybe in a different angle, but you're looking at the same direction. The opposites attract nonsense that I always hear, that only works for a short term. If you want fun, if you want a fling, if you want a short-term relationship, opposites make a good short-term relationship. But if you want long-term relationships, you want marriage, usually people who see this, who have similar views or the same views on things, I will say the important things, whatever's your priority as an individual, that's a good bet that you're going to have a good long-term relationship with that person. And politics is becoming a big determiner on relationship success, because nowadays a lot of women won't date a man that don't share the same political views as her. And I already mentioned earlier in the video, that many young Gen Z women are still liberal, while Gen Z men and boys, are overwhelmingly conservative. Right? And this is the problem with mob rule, is that because they keep where's the line, they keep the line so vague that you don't know when you cross it. And when you cross it, they want to use that, oh, look at you. Right? But you haven't replaced the norm with something else. All you have to do is, oh, she has to give consent. Okay. And what if she regret giving consent? What happens then? Oh, you get penalized for it. Oh, you're moving the goalpost. This is the problem with liberal logic. They always give themselves a plausible deniability to remove the rule. You operate on a previous assumption and they say, oh, no, that's the wrong assumption. That's not real socialism. Okay, what is real socialism? They don't answer the question. What is the rule? They don't answer the question. And what you get what we got today in our culture today. Chaos. Every man for themselves. Gender war. If our culture continues this way, there can be no unity. Our society can't survive this. And this is one of the reasons why conservatives don't really agree with the red pill stuff, even though we agree on the same problems. It's because as conservatives, we look at things from a societal point of view, while the red pill only has to worry about what's best for men. Because when you think about what's best for one side, you don't have to worry about the trade-offs or the negatives that affect the other side. You're going to go, no, we just want all the net positives for the men. That's it. While conservatives like, I care about my culture. I care about my society. And for society to be stable, there needs to be some type of compromise in the middle where both sides benefit from the interaction and both sides benefit from being part of the society. I agree. Family law reform. Agree. Marriage reform. Agree. Remove alimony. Agree. Do some changes with child support. Agree. Because at the end of the day, a society can't stand without men. And if we create a society that is overbearing towards women, then we're gonna get the feminist revolution 5.0 again. And then we'll go right back to where we started, right here. This is where I think that's the conflict that a lot of conservatives are having right now. I digress. Let's continue.
And trying to extract the rule out that way. And it's not a very effective way of doing it. You know, you want to decrease campus rape? That's easy. Get rid of alcohol.
Huh.
No one has that conversation.
Nope.
It's like I did my PhD work on alcohol. 50% of the people who are murdered are drunk. And 50% of the people who kill them are drunk.
We want to fix rape culture by telling men not to rape. You can't control the actions of other people. And they laws are there as a deterrent. They don't stop people from doing bad actions. Okay, what's a better solution to prevent that? Okay, let's take away alcohol out of college campus. You think they'll stand for that? No. But that's the most effective solution, correct? This is what I'm talking about. Politics need to be solution driven. But they're not going to do that. They're not going to ban alcohol off college campus. That's half the reason most of these kids come in the first place. You're going to mess up all the college's business model. Or our attendance is going to go down. Because we can't serve alcohol in college campus. But that's the cause of most of the great culture that feminists complain about. You see the distraction here? That'll solve a lot of problems. You can't get drunk. You can't blame it on the alcohol. I digress. Let's continue.
And almost all the date rape situations are consequences of excess intoxication. But yet there's a party culture on campuses and anything goes. And you also have this strange thing, especially on the radical left, which is unbelievably paradoxical, where
contradictory.
Absolutely every form of sexual expression imaginable is 100% permissible because sex is fine, but it's so dangerous that while you're dancing with someone at a Princeton mixer, you have to ask them 2 or 3 times if it's okay for you to continue. And that's that.
And then the same women will complain about how that kills the mood, that kills the interaction. It's not fun. You can't have it both ways. Either one of fun and safe are not usually in the same side. I'm gonna say it out like that. Right? But this is what feminism taught women. Oh, be contradictory. Have it both ways. Yes, you can be a modern woman and expect a traditional man because that's hot. Okay, we're not talking about what's hot. We're talking about what's fair. And is the men getting any kind of benefit from the interaction? If not, don't expect the man to stick around. This is why I said when people have opposite views and they end up in a relationship, it's not. I don't think it's gonna last. It's not destined to last because it's there for a fun time, not a long time. But I digress.
That's actually the case, by the way. I'm not making that up. It's like, well, both of those things can't be true. Now, what's happening, I think, on the Me Too end of things and the affirmative consent end of things is the old sexual taboos are reasserting themselves. The idea that we can extract sex out from emotional intimacy, and especially emotional intimacy, I would say, psychological intimacy, maybe even from long-term relationship, I don't believe it's a tenable idea. I don't think we can do it. And a lot of what we're seeing is the backlash against that. It's like, well, I feel used. Because one of the things that's happening on the really radical end of the anti-sexual abuse movement is the idea that, well, if you have intercourse with someone and then you regret it the next day, that's evidence that it wasn't consensual. Well,
you see how people who think this way can mess a society up? Oh, I gave him my purse. I sold this to him for free, but then I regret giving it to him for free. So I'm filing a police report that he stole my purse. But did you give me your purse? Yes, I gave you my purse. At the moment, I felt, it was worthless, whatever. But then I found out my purse was worth $2,000. And now I want it back, and you didn't want to give it back because you said it was a gift. So I took back my consent and said you stole it. That's pretty much the Me Too movement right there. There's like, a law can't operate like that. A law can't operate by giving a person the sword of Damocles or whatever you call it, where at any moment they can make you guilty of something just like this based on a change of mind. Law and order don't work that way. Law and order is firm. Either it's wrong or not. If you got your consent, hey, it's not wrong. You can't withdraw it back after the fact. You can't go back in time and stop the decision. You must stick with your L. You must stand by your decisions. But it's because of feminist culture, we have taught modern women, and this is what ruined modern women in my view, that they're not accountable for anything. They're not accountable to themselves. They're not accountable to their community. They're not accountable to their society, their principles, morals. It doesn't matter. Whatever benefits them at the moment, that's the only thing women should be allowed to do. That's the only thing that's fair. So if a woman decides, I want to take back consent, you grape me. Oh, you're going to jail. You're going to suffer. Even though everything was good at the moment. This is why a lot of men don't want to date women now. This is why not a lot of young men are choosing to stay single. Women out here going hookup culture, right? If you look at Tinder data, 80% of the women only swipe at 20% of the men. It's crazy. But this is the reality. They live in imagination. They live in la la land. They don't live in reality. I digress.
It is, in a sense, evidence that it wasn't consensual, because it's evidence that you didn't bloody well think it through, right? It was good for last night, but it's not good for today. It's not very wise. The question is, well, what constitutes consent? And we need to have a very serious conversation about that. Like, under what circumstances is it acceptable to give consent? But we're not mature enough to have that conversation. We want it both ways.
Exactly.
We want to be able to do whatever we want, with whoever we want, whenever we want, with no consequences, and we want there never to be any trouble about consent. It's like, well, no, that's not going to happen.
And that's what feminists want to happen. This is the end result of feminist culture. This is what progressive women, this is the conundrum, because you see a lot of progressive women going viral. I can't find a progressive man that's traditional, because they're looking for a unicorn. They're looking for something that doesn't exist. It could exist in some capacity, like, because at the end of the day, we're not either one or the other. We're a percentage, right? But it's rare for a lot of men to have contradictory ideas like that. It's rare to find a bunch of qualities in one person. Usually, because we're not perfect people, you're making a trade-off. Either you pick the humble, he's going to take good care of you nerd, or you're going to get the handsome, don't care about nobody, but he's extremely handsome, good looking, tall. He has all the physical traits that I want, and I'm so attracted to him. But so is other women. And he's going to want to explore his options. Pick one. It's like women, you can't ask women to be disciplined anymore. Because it used to take discipline to turn down the super hot guy. What was it? What was it? Snow White? No, it was Snow White. Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast is supposed to illustrate the choice that women must make. Do you choose the Beast? He looks ugly. He has all this stuff, but his character is A1, according to the movie, right? Or you're going to pick, I forgot his name, Gustav? I forgot his name already. Gustav. Handsome, all the girls love him, popular, Chad. You pick him, but he has some negative qualities. You have to pick. And it seems like this is the problem that a lot of women have. But I digress. Let's get into the next one. All right. So there's there's something I want to talk about. It's about fatherless homes. It's going to be a quick one. It's not going to be a big segment. It's just going to be a real quick segment here. And you always hear about like me complaining about single mothers. And I think I found a video. Shout out to I always leave the link to the sources. But it was a constellation. And they talk about toxic single mothers. And I think that's a discussion that's not really commonly spoken about. And people wonder, well, why kids that come out of single parent households, they come out committing a lot of crime, dropping out of school, high rates of teen pregnancy.
Right.
Oh, sorry. Almost spoiled it. And it's due to the fact that our court system automatically assumed that the woman is most fit to take care of the child, right? And this is another problem why I think child custody laws need a reform, because we always hear about how everything's the father's fault. But end of the day, the black community is poor. Black community has high rates of crime. Who's raising the kids? 70% of kids are born to single mothers. So wouldn't the blame fall onto the people that's actually raising the kids, not the person that's absent from raising the kids? But everything that bad that happened in the black community is because of the fatherless homes. No, absent fathers allow mothers to become toxic. That's my view. So this is I think it's going to be a 1 minute clip, and we're going to watch some examples of how toxic it could be to live in a single mother household. Let's take a look.
And you don't give a it's not my fault. She's on my playing field. She's nowhere near my playing field. She don't have a clue.
I'm not trying to be on
where
your level.
I came from. She thinks she's my equal. I love my daughter.
I don't want to be your mom. I don't want to be. That's the problem. I don't want to be your mom.
But if I need you, I need you. You mean to tell me I can't
daughter
need
place,
you?
Right? You want me to stay in that daughter
but
place?
you're not a baby.
I don't have that. My responsibilities is basically your mom. I don't want to be.
I need me to sit there, listen to you talk, and that's it. That's done.
No, I'll give you your chance to talk.
And when I talk, you overtalk me and change it to how you feel.
Okay?
She said she hate me.
So I know, like, I grew up in the hood, right? And this, oh my God, this brings back some bad memories. Luckily, my mom wasn't like this, right? But also I had my father in my life. So this is where I'm talking about, like, imagine a large swath of people being raised under women like this. Would it then make sense why black men tend to not respect authority, right? Would it make sense for why these daughters get pregnant young? A lot of these women, and I observed this firsthand. They'll get pregnant in their teenager years on purpose, so that way they can get welfare, Section 8, so they can move out of their parents' house, their mom's house, because it's so toxic like this. I only know one example of this, but I'm saying, yo, if you can imagine, imagine 70% of the population and like a sizable minority of these, let's say 30% of single moms act like this. Would it make sense why blacks commit so much crime? Why they have to get it out the mud because they feel pressure to take care of their mom? Because their mom is, like, at the end of the day, single mothers, they have a high propensity to live in poverty. This is why they overwhelmingly are reliant on Section 8, on government programs. It's because they have to be. Single moms don't have a retirement plan. Their kids are their retirement plan. So the kids feel a special burden, an excessive burden to take care of their mom, to retire their mom, to buy their mom a house. You see it all the time with professional basketball players when they make it. Why the black man seems so fascinated with fast money? Because they feel a pressure to take care of their mom. Take care of mama. Even though mom could have been toxic, abusive, right? When black people talk about black trauma, they're talking about this, in my view. But they want to blame racism. To me, racism is a cop-out that many black parents use to excuse their own bad parenting. That's my view. But I digress. Let's continue with the video.
And she wish I was dead.
Wow. When did she say that?
In December.
So recently. Has she been a good mother to you from your point of view?
No.
In what ways? In what ways? Because I can see this sort of little boy that's still trying to protect his mom, that's trying to come off as like, things are good, I'm okay, I don't want to disrespect you.
Black trauma, right? That's black trauma. Ain't racism, it's parenting. Because to me, if a generation is in poverty, I blame the previous generation that raised them, aka the parents' generation. Oh, it's your parents' fault you're in poverty. It's your parents' fault you grew up in the hood. It's your parents' fault that you're in an environment that's not catered to allowing you to be successful in life. It's your parents' fault because they're responsible for creating the environment for you. And it's their responsibility to facilitate an environment where you could be successful. But, you know, they have us focus on problems that have a low impact, low effect in our communities. Oh, it's systematic, institutional. But what about parental? I'm just saying.
That you are the daughter. You my daughter. You ain't my mama. Come on. That is has been your problem all along.
I never wanted to be your mama because I would have raised you.
When you were trying to hit me with the stick and I was holding the stick from you, you said to me, you're a
That's not true.
Don't do that. Trying to hide the fact. Like this is running from responsibility. And the kids model this behavior. This is the sad reality in Black America. This is why fatherless homes is such a problem, because there's no alternative authority that can counteract this toxicity. And a lot of these women, they alienate their kids from their fathers. I had stories of people hating their dad. Oh, I hate my father. And I just asked the question, have you ever talked to your dad? No, but my mom said, I said, bro, you only hear one side of the story. My mom told me a lot of things about my dad, and my dad told me, and then I was able to make sense of the two conflicting stories. And I was able to get to the truth. This is why I don't believe liberals. I'm like, oh yeah, that's your narrative. Let me hear the conservative narrative, and the truth is somewhere here. That's why I don't fall for this tribal politics stuff. Maybe because of my upbringing. But this is a reality a lot of Black Americans were raised under, right? Especially Black women. Hey, look, Black women get hell on earth. The mom either over babies the sons, or you're resentful of the son because the son reminds them of the one that got away. But the daughters, I never feel bad about Black people, but Black women, I feel bad for y'all when y'all raised under single moms. Because the single mom sees the daughter as competition. Oh, you trying to steal my man. I heard cases of that. Girls getting sexually advanced on by the mom's boyfriend. And when the daughter tells the mom's lashing out at her daughter because she's like, oh, you trying to steal my man. He wasn't looking at you. Making excuses. This is what goes on in the Black community. And when we push back, if you dare have the goal to say, hey, let's stop letting single mothers raise our kids. Women, stop being single mothers. Oh, we didn't choose this life. It just happened. Oh, you prevent it then. Because you have a lot of control over this. And then we wonder why the Black community can't move forward. Because from the kids' most impressionable years, they get exposed to toxicity. Either by their parents, their mom, single mom, their environment. That's what I'm saying. It's not racism. It's not systematic racism that stops Black people from being successful in this country. It's literally their location and their environment. But you only can change that by changing the culture. And the culture has to be self-critical. The culture has to instill and uplift new values. It can't keep tolerating this. This is why I say shame needs to come back. We need to shame single motherhood. Sorry. Because I believe it'll push us towards the solution and not being comfortable with the current and the present. I digress.
Your sister's fighting like this with your mom.
Well, it makes me like,
Sit down.
she don't care about nothing. She put on this act. Look, you see how she put on this act as if she want a relationship with us. She don't want a relationship with us. You see, you trying to make stuff better than you're not.
I want to know why most good.
Hey, you see, sometimes I can't even blame when kids raised under an environment like that, how they turn out the way they turn out. All right, we're arriving at the 2-minute mark. We're about to hit the main event, but before we hit into the main event, I want to highlight how this is another storyline for 2024. Transgenderism. How are we gonna deal with this, huh guys? Because this is some crazy ish right now. This is cultural now. Turns out that merely identifying as a man can't turn you into a man. This guy complains that she's now 6 weeks pregnant, claims it doesn't make any sense. No, you don't make any sense. Politics can't be, this is the storyline of politics. Politics can't be, hey, I want to vote for this person because of a personal narrative that I believe. No, we must value objective truth. We can't let imagination run this country anymore. Imagination is what got us Biden. Everything will be fine if we vote in Biden. If you go back in time, you go to the 2020 debates between Trump and Biden, Trump pretty much predicted everything that happened today. Oh, your gas price is going to go up. Inflation is going to go through the roof. He's going to spend. He's going to take us out. He's going to put us back in the Paris Accords. He's going to make us energy dependent. Allegedly, we're energy independent, but we're still getting our oil from Saudi Arabia, if I remember correctly. Right? But we continue tolerating people who live in imagination because they think they're a man, but they're a woman, and now they're 6 weeks pregnant, pretending that this doesn't make any sense. What kind of delusional world are we living in?
And I had a doctor's appointment recently. That doctor said I was pregnant. Doesn't make any sense because I'm obviously a guy. So I'm going to a second doctor now.
So you're going to a second doctor. Imagine the delusion. Oh my God. I can't take it anymore. Imagine the delusion. Now, this copyright song, I don't want to get copyrighted, so I'm going to pause it. But imagine the delusion. I want to get a second opinion. I'll keep you guys updated. Dylan, thank you. Lady, the second doctor's telling you, hey, you pregnant. You are 6 weeks pregnant. That's not possible. I'm a man. Bruh. Are we really living in real life, guys? This can't be real life. It can't be. I'll let you guys debate this out in the comment section because they want to make more people like this woman. Oh, don't believe what you see. Don't believe what you feel. Don't believe your experiences. Believe what we tell you. A man can be a woman and a woman can become a man simply because they believe it to be so. And this is the result. A 6 week-old woman, a woman that's 6 weeks pregnant, and she's surprised that she's pregnant because she believes she's a man. God damn. Yeah, exactly, Byron. It's a glitch in the system. So it's time for the main event, which you guys came here for. Appreciate you guys sticking out with me for an hour. So the last 30 minutes of the stream, we're going to be talking about would America be better under communism, Middle Ground by Jubilee. And I'm just going to dive right into it. No monologue. Let's jump straight into it.
You cannot say
Hannah, I don't want to argue.
You do want to argue. You wanted to make your point, so let me make it back.
Hannah,
and then you're going to try to say it's too spicy for me. No, I got you. Let me respond to you.
Get it?
It is not capitalism coming in and enshrining enslavement. And in fact, capitalism is what got rid of it.
Exactly.
It's pushing back against this centuries-old awful institution. So to say it's capitalism, I think is honestly offensive.
Okay, before I'm going to give my monologue real quick. The black dude was a joke, Byron. Bruh, I saw the little thing. I was like, bruh, that man better be from Africa, dog. Because if I find out he's an American-born black, I'm going to be mad. That's cultural appropriation, okay? But to me, this is how I always seen it. If you guys want not a history lesson, but like homework, right, from this stream, look up a guy named George Fitzhugh. And his name, if you can't spell out his last name, just put the honest socialist. And this guy, during slavery, he made the argument how slavery is essentially socialism. So the idea that capitalism had anything to do with slavery is merely a narrative. It's because of capitalism that slaves were freed in the first place. Now it's just an economic system. End of the day, capitalism is not some moral system. It's not some political philosophy. It's merely an economic system of how to operate in society, right? That's all capitalism is. Socialism and communism tries to make political philosophy, social philosophy, and an economic philosophy. That's socialism. But socialism always think things are just like them. So they think capitalism has a philosophy, and it does. The four philosophies of capitalism is you have a freedom to try something, you have a freedom to buy something, you have a freedom to sell something, and you have the freedom to fail. And because capitalism allows you to fail, socialists and communists use that fact to say, oh, capitalism is bad. Look at the poverty. Look at the disparities. No, it's just the name of the game. No one gets mad at basketball when a team gets blown out by 40 points. Oh, all the good players want to join this team. It's not, hey, look, that's the game. And a lot of reason why I think socialism is becoming popular in our generation is because a lot of people don't understand the game of capitalism. I digress. Let's get back into the video.
We are approaching the 150th episode of Middle Ground, and we need your help to continue making more episodes.
Skip!
America would be a more powerful country under communism.
No. Oh shit, my bad, guys. Sorry for your nose. It's for your nose, for your ears. But look, middle ground community results also says no. So I'm the popular opinion on this one. But let's hear what the communists will say. Only the black dude. Oh no, I lied.
I think it would be a lot better for all the people who are working jobs that are not, I guess, tech, basically. So I make content, which means that I work a lot of hours and I don't get paid the same amount as a soft dev. So I think it would create more creativity in certain like creative industries, artists. If you make a bigger pie, everyone gets a bigger slice.
Yeah. But that's capitalism. Capitalism makes a bigger pie and everyone gets a bigger slice because not everyone gets paid the same, right? Because not everyone contributes the same at the same level, right? Here's an argument. Anyone ever heard of the 80-20 rule? 80% of your results come from 20% of the producers. That means 20% of society produces 80% of the pie, right? If you look at taxes, which, you know, socialists and communists love to tax the rich, 20% of taxpayers are responsible for 80%. 80%. Oh, sorry. 80%, almost 80% of the tax revenue that we use to fund our social programs, our welfare, our law enforcement. This is ridiculous. This is a ridiculous argument that's not founded in any reality. Let's go back to the board, people. We suffer more from imagination. If we let people like this continue operating under this imagination, they're going to vote for things that can never fix anything. This is how socialism always gets you guys. Get us as Americans, as a people, this because they always go, it's not real socialism. Okay, define what real socialism is. Stalin wasn't real socialism. Lenin wasn't good socialism. Hugo Chavez wasn't socialism. What is socialism? Define it. Because every self-proclaimed socialist claimed that they're going to usher in the real socialism, and it becomes a hellhole on earth. You ruin one of the best Latin American economies by implementing the system, and now you're trying to do this ish here in America. You crazy as hell. Because like Karl Marx said, socialism is merely a transitional state towards communism. And I think this is an important video for my topic. What is the storyline for politics? They all give a different definition. Exactly. So that means, well, you know what that tells me? I can't trust you, self-proclaimed socialist. Because how I know you ain't going to be like Hitler? How I know you ain't going to be like Stalin? I'm the one who is cocky. All these previous self-proclaimed socialists failed to usher in real socialism, and I think I could put in real socialism. Dumb argument. No. Why should we trust you? Every socialist in history that said the same thing as you did not produce real socialism. What makes you think you can? Bet you can't. I bet you they can't answer that. I digress. Craziness. Never heard some stuff like that before.
I think one of the main misconceptions about communism is that it's just making everybody equally poor.
Yes.
When Marx and Engels wrote repeatedly that the first step under communism is increasing the productive forces.
You can't.
In the U.S., over 80% of our population.
You can't quote, like, this is such a dumb argument. Sorry, guys, I'm pausing there a lot. You can't quote the author and creator of the system as a source of authority about the system. It's like asking me about the Republican Party. It's like asking me about conservatives. You're supposed to expect a biased take from me if you asking me about my own party. Right? And this is what this guy did. Let's hear him out.
Population's living paycheck to paycheck. If you provide people's basic needs, if you invest in economic growth and in jobs and in infrastructure rather than investing in endless
But where's the money going to come from? That's the problem.
War and massacring Muslim people in Gaza, you're going to make this country a lot stronger. You're going to make the people a lot more stable here.
I grew up in a white ring area. I grew up in Denver, Colorado. I was born in Dallas, Texas. I'm the first American in my family. Everybody's from the Congo.
Okay.
If my family was able to come here, of course it would have some capitalist connection. So I grew up very much with the idea that everything I need is under capitalism. Individualism,
yes.
freedom,
yes.
all these things are under capitalism.
Yes.
But I'm black in America. So
oh my God.
Just create that friction where I'm like, this doesn't align with what I was told and what I'm actually seeing or actually feeling. So why did I come to communism? When I actually read it, when I went from Marx to Lenin to Mao to Deng to Fred Hampton, I started realizing like, oh, this is patriotism. This is the idea that I look at another American and think to myself, I want you to be fed. I want you to feel fulfilled in your life. I want you to feel like you actually have control within your society. Honestly, as somebody, again, who grew up in that right-wing area, that flies over everybody's.
It doesn't fly over everyone's head. It's just you do not understand reality. Let's be on. Let's be real here. I'm gonna attack some of the points they had. Heads up, we have detected a video or stream belongs to someone else. Uh-oh, I might get copyrighted, guys. Okay, I probably played the video too long. Oh, whatever. If I get copyrighted, is whatever. I don't even make money from this stream anyway. I just like to talk. So the argument I have for this guy here is that when you incentivize, oh, we just gonna fill out everyone's basic needs. Oh, that's cool. Everyone's basic needs are met. What pushes creativity? Competition or complacency? Because that's the incentive you create, and welfare has proven this already for us. Have you ever met someone? I mean, it takes someone of high moral character to work themselves out of welfare, because welfare, people get reliant on welfare. If you make too much money under welfare, you lose welfare. Oh, you made more than $2,000 a month. We might have to take away your welfare, but it's okay. If you stop making so much money, you'll be able to keep your benefits. And I already told you the monetary value of these benefits, $55K a year. So you're making $2,000 a month, that's $24,000 a year, and you're gonna lose $55K. Logical choice is make less money so I can keep the benefits. You're incentivizing someone to be lazy, right? And the people, remember my 80-20 rule, 80% of the taxes, the funding you're going to get comes from the top 20%. So you create a system where the ones that had the money, you're going to take their money and spread it throughout all society. You're redistributing wealth. You create a negative incentive for people to not maximize their potential. For instance, if Jeff Bezos was born under a communist system, Amazon would never exist. Because to Jeff Bezos, the smart thing will be, why would I work hard? If my capacity is become one of the richest men in the world, why work so hard if I'm just going to lose all that wealth to society? What's the point of trying? Why even create Amazon? You create an incentive that prevents people from going for their maximum potential, because logically it makes no sense to go towards your maximum potential just to make the same money as someone that's just been in their bed drawing knickknacks on the wall, doing basket weaving. There's no point in it, because the basket weaver, and you building a business, you'll get the same result. Oh, you get basic needs met, and then that's it. No luxuries for you. We all live in common. That's not going to be a stronger America. We'll still live in igloos if we lived in a communist country. And here's another case study. We tried communism before. In the 1620s, the pilgrimage, they tried communism. They tried to live in common. They had all the wives clean all the males' clothes. The men shared a farm, equal ownership. Wherever they got, they put it in a common storehouse. And they found that many people were trying to call out sick. Many people were trying to do the bare minimum in those in that community. They noticed that the wives would try their hardest not to clean the clothes of a stranger. And the dude was like, F it. Hey, you're in charge of this farm. Whatever you make in this farm is yours. Whatever you do is yours. And they found that they had a lot more surplus, more food, more wealth, because people like to be responsible for and get what they work for. If I plant a carrot, I expect to get carrot seeds. I'm going to work harder if I get a benefit from my labor than if my labor is at the benefit of everyone else. I'm going to try to shirk work. I'm going to try to be lazy. That's the reality of communism. That's the reality of socialism. I digress. Whew.
Disagreeers are walking quick on this one.
Uh-oh.
Can I say something first on this one to be so bold? Here's my argument. How come every communistic country has to build a wall or a fence to keep people in? China didn't letting people out. My grandma, I remember going, my grandma. Yeah, but where did you come? But where did you come? There's not a mass immigration into Venezuela, into China, into Russia. Where do people want to go? Switzerland, America, Sweden. They're all talking about we need.
Oh, knowledge. And Here's a problem with Sweden too. A lot of socialists like to claim, no, Sweden's real socialism. No, Sweden's prime ministers, it's been documented that they say, no, Sweden's a capitalist country. We're just more socialist compared to America, allegedly. Actually, Sweden, I think they beat us on the freedom index. They have more freedom. They have more free market capitalism than even here in America. Because Sweden has school choice. Conservatives been crying about school choice for a long time. Right? The free healthcare that Sweden has, they're trying to make it more privatized to make the health system more efficient. Right? They're actually moving away from socialism. But because Sweden has free healthcare and what else was it? Free schools, which they also practice school choice, using school choice system. Oh, it's socialist. I digress, guys. Let's continue.
Need to build a wall because people are coming. China's not going, well, we better build a wall because all those Americans are coming across. Nobody's going there.
So you legally cannot become Chinese. I went to international school growing up, and every single non-Asian or anyone else that's like American or Canadian that's gone to China has never wanted to come back to the US. That's something that's really interesting. So I think it's like if you've never been...
It's an adverse selection, a group of people who are
Let her
already...
finish your point, and then
like,
we got you.
I guess like whoever has the open mind to go visit usually doesn't want to come back. And I do live streaming, so I know a lot of live streamers who like permanently...
No, live streamers are not... Look, I don't take my advice from live streamers. Sorry. All right? Because the kind of like, they're young. Like, right now, socialism is popular with the young crowd. It's popular with my generation. And I think many reasons why is because they don't know the history of all the failed attempts at socialism, all the failed attempts at communism. They go to these countries like Norway, I believe, right? I don't even think Norway is a socialist country, but whatever, right? They go to these European countries because Europe is more liberal than America, right? In Europe, it's like, what levels of socialism do you want? You want some socialism or you want more socialism? Here in America is, you want capitalism or you want socialism? We're more right-wing compared to Europe. So a lot of these people like to go to Europe and say, oh, look at the socialist Neverland, right? Oh my God, everything's great here. Because that country happens to have the things that individual prioritize and want. But then they don't notice the trade-offs they're making, because everything's about trade-offs. When you pick capitalism over socialism, you're making a trade-off. Hey, you don't get to choose your health care, because that's what socialism is for. Socialism is a general size fit all. Everyone has the same health care, even though if I'm healthier than you, I need less health care than you do, but we pay the same amount of health care. How's that fair? Does that sound fair to you? This is why I have a problem with a lot of these communists and socialists. They always pretend that they're for fairness, but it's not fair. If you use something more than me, you should pay more. But we're paying the same? I'm essentially subsidizing your payment, because healthcare is expensive for fat people. Healthcare is expensive for unhealthy people. Duh. So you have to pay more. That's fair. But why would we spread out the cost when the usage is not going to be the same? This is the problem with socialism. This is the problem with communism. This is why this is why it's one of the least effective systems economically. Byron says, also looking at places like Norway, which is more homogenous and same culture, they don't have time. They don't have the same problems we have. Exactly. Many people may not like this commentary, but capitalism is the perfect system for a multi-ethnic republic like America. See, this is the problem with a lot of these liberals. They set themselves up for failure. In Finland has some of the lowest crime rates. You know why? A lot of people, 95% of people speak the same language, come from the same culture. Japan too. Japan has an astronomically low crime rate because of the same thing. Homogenous cultures, 95% of one ethnic group, right? Here in America, what we got? We got Asians, we got Hispanics, we got blacks, we got whites. Even the whites are not from the same area. You got Irish whites, European whites, American whites. Like, we have all these multi-ethnic people in our country, and we wonder why our crime rates are so high. Right? And then we think, oh, yeah, we could share all in common. Yeah, right? And especially with the way we have our tax system, this progressive tax, how is that fair? So the more money you make, the more taxes you pay. Why not have a flat tax? Isn't a flat tax pay? We all pay 50% of our income and that's it. Doesn't that sound more fair? Everyone gets treated the same. Everyone gets taxed the same. But we create tax bracket and we call it progressive. Socialists, bro. Socialists want to act. Look, the same way communists and socialists like to call capitalists greedy pigs, we should start calling them greedy looters because that's what they are. They loot from the haves for the have-nots. But in reality, they loot from the haves so they can control the have-nots. Oh, you want this loot that we stole from the rich? You better do this. You better burn down bridges. You better destroy property. You better vote for us. That's what welfare is. We take from the rich and we use this to subsidize the poor to get them to vote our way, to put us in power. Bribery. That's the reality of socialism. This is why socialists always end up becoming corrupt. Right? This is why socialists always try to justify slavery because they say slavery is socialism. You want to know why slavery is socialism? Look at the big house, right? Where the masters stay at. He's the controller of the authority. That's the White House. All of us are slaves. That's what taxes are. Taxation is theft. Remember that? Okay. We all pay 100% of our taxes, but the government clothes us, feed us, make sure we're taken care of from cradle to grave. But guess what? We have no control over our situation. Right? If the government decides, hey, we need you to do this. We need you to get vaccinated. You don't get vaccinated, we can't guarantee you're going to have a house. We can't guarantee you're going to eat. There's a saying that I live by, and this is one of the reasons why I'll never be a socialist. I'll never be a communist. If they can feed you, they can starve you. So if you're not responsible for your health care, someone else is responsible for your health care. So that means they have the power over you. So if they decide, hey, you're costing the government too much money, it's not worth keeping you alive, they can pull the plug on you. All you have to do is go to UK and ask them what they did to those young kids, this young Italian kid or something. I forgot his name. But the government is like, no, the NHS said, no, we already wasted a lot of resources trying to keep this kid alive. The parents was begging the government, please don't kill our kid. Let us move our kid to Italy. So that way we can keep him alive over there. That's the cost of your free healthcare. The government gets to decide whether you get to live or die because they have to ration out everything. And that's the inconvenient truth about socialism. But a lot of young people like this bunny girl here, a lot of these streamers, they don't understand the trade-off with socialism. Sure, it's free, but you lose control. You don't have control over yourself anymore. You're effectively a slave. But they don't see it that way. Free healthcare, free childcare, free food. Oh, I can just get something out of the store and walk out. I don't have to pay for it. Oh, I could just follow my creative endeavors. Everything's about what they get out of it. But they don't see the bigger picture and how it affects all of society. This is why every time socialists get into power, they always have to destroy history. So people can't have a chance to compare and contrast. How are we when we use a capitalist system versus how we are now? Because I bet you if you put all the resume of capitalism and the resume of socialism, many people will pick capitalism. And this is why many people flee from socialist countries to come to America and capitalist countries. The results speak for itself. I don't need to make more arguments for it. Sorry I went on a little rant, but I don't want to get copyrighted, so I have to talk.
Move over to Asia, especially China, because not just it's cheaper, it's also just higher benefits. Most people get free healthcare, so it's a lot easier for you to survive there.
See what I'm talking about?
I think it's not because people don't want to go. It's also because you're taught propaganda since a young age. China's scary, China's bad, evil, red dragon. So people don't go and don't even go see it. That's the problem.
I would definitely argue that a lot of China's success is due to the introduction of free markets, but
Yep.
if we want to run with this idea that China's a socialist country, which is just fundamentally untrue, I could also just point to the fact that they're super low on the HDI. Their GDP per capita is like $12,000. The US GDP per capita is $70,000. So I would say in terms of economic success, we're definitely doing way better.
Ty, in terms of how we see immigration into this country, of course, we're American. We're only going to see the American viewpoints of this. China has immigration. People do try to cross the China's border all the time.
And China is very anti-migrant. That's one thing they don't want to mention, right? I don't know if he continues. Let's hear him out. But China is very anti-immigrant. You have no path of citizenship, I believe, if you move into China. While here in America, we offer that. This is why we attract the best in the world. And China has their own propaganda too. You can't speak ill of the Chinese party. That's probably why the bunny girl was trying to cover her face. Because if you speak ill about the Chinese Communist Party, don't ever show up in China, or else you're gonna go missing like the Chinese billionaire. I forgot his name again. Jack Ma, I think his name was. He went missing because he spoke ill of the Chinese party. So even her statements, I can't really trust in and of itself, because there's a threat of violence if she ever speaks ill of her party. Oh, China's not that bad. Yeah, right. I digress.
Time, we're all humans. Everybody's doing the same thing around the world. I would say what you're saying is a perspective issue. I would love to break it down even more and talk to you about the massive amounts of CIA missions that have gone through Latin America to destabilize those countries, but just at that point. To what you're saying, judging a country by how much the wealthiest people in their country profit in their company, we both know what GDP means. It's a bad faith way to really explain
what
their
about
country.
HDI? Human Development Index.
And how's
so
that
it's
made?
measured by things like health, income.
Here's the truth, bro. The richest black people in the world, even the poorest, look at the poorest black American in this country, because then you know this guy's black. He probably only care about what the black perspective on this. You're still considered the top 1% of black people in the world. The poorest, right? There's a meme about African kids when they see someone from America. The reason why African kids want to go to America. This is the quote. Here, I'm gonna try to play it for you guys verbatim. Africa goes to, I want to go to America one day because even the poor people are fat. That's what Africans think of black people in America. But here he is complaining, oh, America's the worst place to be black. You know, I'm black in America. No, you're an American that chose to use his skin color as an excuse for why he's not successful in life. Now, it's not because of your lack of talent, not your lack of ability, not your lack of a skill set to make money. No, it's because I'm black. That's why. Like you looking for an alibi. You're using your race as an alibi. And I'm a man that I'll never use my race, my identity as a handicap. I'll never look at myself as having a handicap because of my skin color. I'm just a different breed of black man, I guess. But you see your skin color as a handicap. Oh, I'm black in America. Okay, keep believing that. A man who believes he can and a man who believes he can't are both usually right. And that's the reality. The best place to be black is here in America. Capitalist America. All these socialist countries. Why your ass ain't over there? But instead, you want to waste time because at the end of the day, socialists can only arise after the country became wealthy. If the country was poor, socialists would never be able to take over at all. It's once a country hits the level of wealth where it could afford to waste its money inefficiently. That's when socialists come out the woodworks. That's when they want to change it into socialism. But when we started from the bottom, you didn't hear not a peep from them. They want to, look, there's poverty. Oh, so you want to criticize capitalism because there's a disparity between the rich and the poor? Well, the rich has a higher impact. Look at Amazon. If about a billion people gave Amazon $1 billion. That's voluntary. Jeff Bezos didn't force you to use Amazon Prime. He didn't force you to watch Prime Time. He didn't force you to do nothing. He came, he said, hey, how would you like to get your products from online and get it within the day? Sometimes 2 days. How would you like that? Oh, I'll pay for that service. I'll pay a monthly subscription for that service. And that's how he became a billionaire. How would a socialist become a billionaire? Just tax all the people for all their money, and then you raid the government's treasury. That's how a socialist become a billionaire. They don't add any value. All they care about is gaining power, gaining leverage, and then use that leverage to make people comply. This is why a lot of communist countries, they end up killing people. Because this is what communism is slavery. Socialism is slavery. They force people to work on their behalf, and when the people don't want to work for the behalf of the government, they force you by threatening you, by killing you, threatening to starve you. Too many examples in history to illustrate this point because they don't understand human nature. Humans work better when they can gain a benefit from their own labor. This is why private property is a thing in capitalism. Because it's your right, it's your property, your body's your property, And a lot of these communist countries, these communal philosophies, they don't believe in private property. They don't believe in women's right to choose. They don't believe in my body, my choice, because your body's is community property. We all share wives here. I want your wife tonight. Hey, that's not your wife. That's the village's wife. That's the nation's wife. Because there's no private property. So there's no such thing as consent to a communist. That's why communists feel entitled to rich people's wealth. Oh, look at the billions of dollars that Jeff Bezos got in assets. That should be for the people. Because they have no recognition of, hey, that's his wealth. It's not our wealth. You didn't help make his wealth, but you feel entitled to it. These socialists and communists, they're very entitled people. This is why some of the worst people were socialists, in my view. These people haven't even seen true poverty. Once I traveled the world and saw it, it changed my perspective completely. Exactly. When I went to Haiti for 2 weeks, my mom is from rural Haiti, Cap Haitian, right? That's what it's called. Old Cap. That's how they say it in Creole. Bruh, my butt. There was no running water in the house. I had to. My 7-year-old butt had to get up early with the men, walk up the hill, pump water out of the well, carry the canteen and walk my butt all the way back to the house. And not even one, I had to go multiple trips to get enough water for the entire house. When I came down and touched America, when I came back and I turned the faucet, I almost cried. That's how grateful I was that I was born in America. See, I think a lot of black people, they will benefit a lot if they traveled outside the U.S. They complain about racism in the U.S. Okay, go outside the country. When I went to Haiti, they kept calling me, "Oh, American, American, American." I looked similar to them, but they knew I was an American because they saw how I talk Creole. They're like, "Oh, yo, your Creole don't sound like you from here." American, American. Well, you go to Japan as a black person, you experience real racism, but you complain here about the USA, one of the most welcoming place to be black, but you crying about America being the worst country in the world. This is where America's racist. The only thing a lot of black people have to compare America to is perfection. And I think this was caused a lot of ungratefulness in black America. I digress though. Let's continue because I want to really finish this point.
It's the UN standard for like how well an economy is doing.
So from that point, perfect. Healthcare, we rank 37 in the United States. Cuba ranks 2.
Sure.
Oh God.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Wait.
Hold on.
Cuba
We gotta
ranks
take a
what?
step back.
Cuba ranks what? Wait, I really want to engage.
They've been
with this.
#1 and #2 in the hover through those spots.
According to Cuba.
Cuba uses their
according to the
doctors.
Commonwealth
UN.
Fund. According to the Commonwealth Fund and the
Wait. Cuba is 83 on the HTI. They use their doctors like slaves because 90% of the profit goes to the state.
Right? Imagine that. Imagine you work as a doctor. You expect to make high income, but 90% of it goes to the government. What's the point of working? I make $100K a year. Your stream has been temporarily blocked because we detected videos belonging to. So I guess I got blocked. Who knows? I got blocked, guys. Stream unavailable. More info. Let me see this. Let's see. Can I? Oh my God! Cancel.